What's up, pretty gang? It's your favorite nail tech Peaches back with another video, and today I am going to show you guys how I do a deluxe pedicure. Okay, now this soap I put in all of my pedicures. You guys see I do have like a footsie bath pedicure tub, so I go ahead and fill it up with some water in the liner and put that soap in. And here are just a couple of the things that I use during my pedicure, specifically deluxe pedicures, because I do need all my masks, all of my callus removers, etc. I get this from my local nail supply. It is like $1 something for a pack of this, which is way more cost effective than, you know, some of the other stuff. And it's like you can use it per person, so it makes it easy. And this is the scrub that I use on everybody. Okay, so before we get started, we are gonna make sure you guys are subscribed, notifications on. Moanne, you are the subscriber for today. I apologize for my usual background not being there, but you guys, I don't know, it got deleted, so this is what we're working with. Okay, so first things first, I always let everybody soak while I am going ahead and getting all of my tools and implements together. Now, first thing that you do after the cuticle softener / remover in deluxe pedicures is like whatever foot mask or whatever you want to put on. That's what I did. So I put on callus remover and foot masks. I don't want to hear nothing about like, why don't I use gloves, this and the other. There's nothing going on with her feet fungal wise or, you know, disease wise. My hands are clean. Her feet are clean because they have been soaking in you know, like foot soak and soap and things like that. So I personally don't have a problem with it. Also, if you are used to doing pedicures, then you will know the way your gloves get filled up with water every second to the point of they rip, it's a waste of gloves. I personally, like after this step of scrubbing her feet, I'm gonna go wash my hands. I just wash my hands a lot during the process and clean as I go. Therefore, it keeps my hands constantly clean. Any of the little bottles I touch, I wipe them down at the end. So I just want to go ahead and say that. The other thing I want to go ahead and say is this, I fully intended for this to be a deluxe acrylic pedicure, okay? And what that means is that she should have gotten acrylic toes. However, this is a first time client now, okay? The amount of damage that she had on her toes, and you're gonna see, I'm gonna realize it right here as I'm trying to push her cuticles back, and I'm realizing like, hold on, what's going on here? And I think I had started to ask her questions. I'm like, can you feel this? Like, do you feel that? Because I was trying to decipher if it was just a very thin toenail or if there was not a toenail there at all. And it's hard for you guys to see, but you can see that, like, you see I'm trying to feel the difference between the toenails. You can see as I'm trying to like clean the cuticles, I notice this right here might be the only piece of little toenail that she got. Okay. So, which is really important why you do all of your checks and stuff like that. You ask your clients questions. Now, when I initially had like, you know, looked at her feet and stuff, because they teach you to do checks on people's hands and feet whatever. They teach you to check at school. And so, you know, when they're taking off their shoes and stuff, you're kind of like inconspicuously looking at their feet to, you know, see what's like going on or whatever. So I was kind of looking like something seemed a little off, but I told her we're gonna see what we're working with after we dry your feet off. So I go ahead and I scrub the feet because I like to let the masks sit. Now be careful when you're using masks like this with no gloves, because technically they do say that you should be using gloves, but like I said, gloves rip so easily on pedicures. I don't like, and I used to use nitrile gloves, they rip on latex gloves. I just, at a certain point, the gloves come off, okay? And that's point blank, period. If you do pedicures as many years as I've been doing them, that's just what happens, okay? Because they get waterlogged. So after the foot mask sits, after you're pushing back the cuticles, you can go ahead and scrub the bottom of the feet. I stick it right back in the water and I basically repeat. All right, so I do the same with this foot. And I'm keeping in mind, well, at this point, I'm not really thinking that too much is wrong. Now, on the big toe, I did see that, like, it looked like her toenail was just kind of clipped weird. It wasn't, like, horrible or anything like that. But as soon as I get to putting cuticle remover on this foot, I'm already kind of looking like, child, the big toenail on this one looked even worse than the other foot. And granted, I am able to put acrylic toes onto toenails that are, like, short or, you know, things like that. I can definitely enhance that, but the way this big toenail was cut, it was like, okay, for those of you who do feet or are, you know, licensed techs or whatever, and you've seen a lot of stuff in school, right? You know how, like, when someone has an injury to their toenail or their fingernail. When it's a fresh injury, it literally looks like it's red. Sometimes it'd be swollen. It looks like something was ripped away. The way that these damaged toenails looked like, it looked like y'all, I can't make this up. You guys are gonna see. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what they look like once I realize, girl, no, I can't. We can't go further than the pedicure. And you see, I'm starting to see it. I'm starting to realize, like, oh, girl, why did you even book this? Okay, so the nail beds will start to look. It will look extremely smooth to the point of like there's not a clear distinction where the toenail ends and basically like at the longest point of it, I guess. It's kind of like, you'll see what I'm saying. Anyways, it was smooth to the point that I'm just like, okay, is this just super duper thin, or no, this is nothing. And it was like a lot more squishier than if it was just a thin toenail, if you get what I'm saying. So at this point, I'm talking to her, asking her, like, you know, every time someone new books acrylic toes, I ask them from the jump, like while they're taking off the shoes, hey, have you had this service before? If you have, where did you go? What was your experience? Because as a licensed nail tech, it's my job to put the pieces together. Okay, you have to ask these type of questions, not just to be nosy and to make conversation, but literally because health concerns and problems. So what she told me was that she had soaked off her toenails the previous day. Now, sometimes when people do that, okay, I'm cleaning up, I'm adjusting the towels because I'm getting ready to show you guys what the scrub and stuff that I'm doing, okay? So she had told me, right, that she soaked off the toenails that she had previously that she got from a nail shop. I always recommend not to go to nail shops for acrylic toes because why? They usually 99% of the time will put tips on toes, which is an absolute no. That is a no. That causes severe damage, and honestly, most of the people who have gotten tips on their toes have had extreme damage, okay? So, number two thing is, I don't even know if this is number two. Y'all, I'm so sorry, I'm all over the place. I need to leave I need to leave for work in 10 minutes, like, but, the next thing about that statement that she made about her soaking them off at home, a lot of people, they're buying drills and e-files off of Amazon and stuff, and I asked her, I said, did you file this down? Because I needed to assess, was this done by a previous tech or was this damage done by her own hand and her own doing, okay? She was like, yeah, I did drill it down some, right? Toes are hard to soak off, way harder than fingers, right? So I asked her, I said, did it hurt when you did this process? She's like, no, it really didn't hurt. She's like, it only hurt when I ran on the treadmill. So I'm thinking, like, was she soaking off these toes and running on the treadmill at the same time? I didn't even know what to make of that statement. So the next thing I moved into was like, okay, how long did you have those toes on? She was like, well, I went to wherever last month, and I had them before I went to wherever, and I was gone for a month. So I came to the conclusion, you've had those toenails for about 6 to 8 weeks, probably more like 8 weeks. And she's like, yes, which normally wouldn't be a problem, but when you get poor work done at a shop, it is a huge problem and a red flag. And because she told me that she had run on the treadmill, I said, were those toenails done with tips? She said, I've gotten them like that before. Yes, I believe they were. I said, okay, and you run on the treadmill? She said, yes. I said, I'm almost certain that because they use tips, they were way too long for you to be wearing those acrylic toes in running shoes, running on a treadmill daily. And the pushback of your acrylic toes in sneakers, if you are an active person wanting acrylic toes, or you're a nail tech and your client is active wanting acrylic toes, they need not to be past the top of the toenail. Okay, I mean the toe. Because what that does is once those toenails are over the top of the toe, you are just going to have hitting and banging up against that shoe, which causes pressure and it causes like a kickback into the nail bed, and it's not something you want to deal with. So I said, do you think that maybe one of those times you're running, did you have an injury somewhere along that line, you know? So at this point, I am thoroughly rinsing off her feet, and I'm gonna clean up. There has been a couple of times I already went and like washed my hands of the mask and stuff, threw that stuff away. But at this point, I am making sure that I am cleaning up my mess. I'm gonna dry her down with that towel. Typically during deluxe pedicures I use 2 towels, because at this point this one is really wet, and I will need a dry one to go ahead and fully dry her feet and then do the acrylic toes on top of. Yeah, so you're gonna see me fold this towel up and just use it to initially get her feet out of the water, so I can go ahead and dump that water in the sink and throw away the liner. Okay, so yeah, this is just me showing you guys a little bit of cleanup of my process. And yeah, so anyways, I came to the conclusion, right, at this point in time, because I can get a little better look when they're dry. Kind of was looking, I'm like, okay, I know something's weird about those big toes for sure. Those were probably definitely way longer than they needed to be, but I'm like, something still ain't all the way adding up. So I'm trying to ask certain questions, and mind you, it didn't click to me until like way after this process was done. Oh my god, I really need to get ready and go to work. This is horrible. Okay, I'm taking you guys with me because I really need to get dressed and stuff. So I'm sorry, excuse the noise, but I want to get this voiceover done before I go to work. So that's just what it is. So I came to the conclusion, right, that somewhere along the lines between their process, her running on the treadmill, and her doing her own soak off, there was some damage that has been done. Okay, and as I'm drying her feet off, right, because I still was thinking like, okay, maybe if anything we're gonna skip, see, look at that middle toe right there, that middle toenail. I was like, maybe if anything, okay, we'll skip that, right? But as I'm looking closer, and I'm gonna show you guys, I think right now. So look, I know it's hard to tell, especially if you're unlicensed or untrained, like properly. Look at that big toe. See how I'm touching it? I'm making sure that she has pain. You can see how I'm telling her, look at this middle toe. So that darker sliver in the front where I'm touching, that is the piece of toenail that she has. And I was telling her, I'm like, you know, I guess realistically I could extend it a little bit, but I'm not gonna do that, because what that's gonna do is just cause it to like not last. It's not gonna last. And for her big toe, I was just telling her, like, around the edges, it's just cut up really badly. Like, I'm like, you know, you have enough toenail to put something on there, but I'm like, girl, that middle toe, I'm gonna be honest with you, you see how smooth it is? Which makes me to believe, like, I know she took the toenails off yesterday, but look at this. So her toenail's not bleeding or anything, but do you see that thicker area? That's what toenail she has. And then you see how the rest is like extremely smooth? That tells me that these didn't just rip off or anything yesterday. This has nothing. This is, look at it. And so I'm asking her, can you touch that? Look how, like, I mean, can you feel that? Look how soft it is. And she's like, yeah, I can a little bit, whatever. Y'all, I was like really shook. Not shook because, hey, I've never seen this before, but it's just like I was saying earlier, right? She came in basically saying, like, don't judge my feet are ugly, my husband didn't marry me for my feet. And I started to realize this is what she meant, right? So this client came full well knowing that her toenails, there's basically none. Like, look at this big toenail. Look at how much is missing. You can see in the front, like, it's literally just a sliver. And honestly, I know there's a lot of people on Instagram and stuff who will put toenails on people like that. I am not one of them, okay? I am not a nail tech. Where is my shirt? Look at my shirt. I'm not a nail tech that believes that if there's significant damage, that something should be put on top of it just because you can. Because I'll be honest, there's a lot of times of like, just because you can doesn't mean that you should. You see what I'm saying? Like, because that will just cause a lot of extra problems and a lot of extra, damage. So as I'm looking and assessing, I'm really talking to her. I thought about leaving my conversation up with her, but I do want this video to get monetized and there's music in the background. So I'm probably gonna post it to Instagram as a reel. So if you'd like to hear the conversation between her and I would suggest you head over to my Instagram, and hopefully that reel is posted by now. Oh Lord, I'm gonna be late for work. I just went ahead and proceeded with the massage, and I was telling her, like, hey love, I understand that you really want this service, but to be honest with you, we can't do this, because I'm like, unless you want to walk around missing 4 toes or 4 toenails, I guess, like, there's no point in us doing this, because you're just gonna look ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So where the fuck are my socks? So y'all, I'm sorry, I'm stressed, I'm very erratic. So we went ahead and just kept on with the pedicure and the what is this called, the massage. I didn't show exactly like a full massage, but you guys get the gist of it, right? And I just kept on talking to her about what I saw and everything like that. So I really wanted to show you guys, like I said, a pedicure with me doing the acrylic toes, but honestly, you guys, it's just so many people out here showing how, like, oh my goodness, look at this transformation, look what I did, X, Y, and Z, and they shouldn't be. Please stop letting these people online. And look, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing people who are self-taught or anything like that, but there's a lot of people not doing the proper full analysis that they should, just because, okay, I can make something look nice. It's causing so much damage and trauma to people that, you guys know, toenails do not have to grow back. I told her that the left foot, which you guys would consider on our left hand side, I'm like, that's gonna take minimum a month to grow back to a point where I would even feel comfortable maybe even putting the toenails on that foot. And the other side, because she's starting from pretty much scratch, it's gonna take closer to 2 months. And so I'm like, I wouldn't even think about getting toenails until maybe end of September, you know? So I really wanted this to be realistic. I'm so sorry you guys have to go to work. I appreciate you guys for watching, subscribing. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.